Hey there! In today's video I'm going to show you a fantastic attacking scheme that you will be able to use in your games, especially if you play the Nimzo-Indian or the English defense. Yeah, this can be reached by several defenses: the Nimzo-Indian, the Queens-Indian, the Dutch defense, and most importantly, the English defense, what is dearest to my heart. I have written a book about it, and well, I'm going to show you a game from a book in which this attacking scheme produces a masterpiece. So without further ado, let's jump right into the game Malinin versus Savon. This game was played in 2001, and here we go. D4, E6, C4, B6. This is the aim of the book, so this is what we call the English defense. And it's a flexible defense in which this pawn can be moved to f5 sometimes as a way to attack a white center. And for instance, in case of e4, bishop b4, knight c3, bishop b7, bishop d3, f5. This is a usual idea. In case you're interested in learning more about it, I have a couple of videos devoted to this defense on the channel. You can see the links. And well, let's continue with the game. After b6, knight c3, bishop b7, knight f3, bishop b4. And here is something pretty close to the Nimzo-Indian, but it is also close to the Queens-Indian, and we are going to play f5. So this is a hybrid. Yeah, but it's a hybrid of 3 openings. Yeah, I guess it's Dutch defense, yeah, with f5, and a Nimzo, a hybrid of those. Yeah, because in the Nimzo-Indian it's pretty normal to have the light square bishop in the long diagonal. Okay, Queen c2, they want to avoid their pawns from being double. I mean, they are not interested in playing something like a3, because then we gain an extra idea, that is attacking the c pawn. So they play Queen c2 in Capablanca style. This is the Capablanca variation against the Nimzo-Indian. And f5. This is the idea of the English defense. We are playing with a hybrid. And a3, they want the bishop pair. Bishop takes c3, queen takes c3, knight f6. They gain some space on the queen side, castle, and e3. This is pretty sensible. They have the bishop pair, and yeah, in my opinion, having the bishop pair is something that will bring you satisfaction or winning chances in the long term. So preserving those bishops is wiser, in my opinion, than playing something like bishop g5 that will more likely end up trading these bishops. So playing e3 is a nice way to keep the bishops there, and yeah, sometimes they will become more active. So after d6, this is the normal scheme. We're reaching the scheme I'm promising. Bishop b2, knight b7, bishop e2. The attacking scheme we are going to learn is based in the control of e4, based in the power of this bishop. And there is something that I'm going to hide for now. So after bishop e2, he decided to play queen e7. That is a very wise move. And just after castling, he came to e4. Yeah, the thing is that once the king is castled, yeah, they can continue with queen b3. Once the king is castled, we play rook f6. Otherwise it doesn't make sense. I mean, playing here rather than queen e7, playing knight e4, queen c2, and rook f6 makes no sense, because the king is not castled and they probably are going to castle on the queen side or keep the king in the center. So it is pretty sensible to play queen e7 first and only then play knight e4. So castle, knight e4, queen b3, and then rook f6. Yeah, the rook is ready to switch to the king side right away. Rook ad1, they are supporting d5, and here we find an interesting dilemma. Where to place the rook? Yeah, because we can place it here on g6, makes some sense, attacking g2 with the help of the bishop, with the x-ray of the bishop, or place it on h6 with the hope of creating weaknesses or attacking h2 somehow. So what is your take on this? What would you play? Well, the game continued with rook h6. That is the strongest in my opinion. The thing with rook g6 is that d5 right away blocks our bishop, and after e5, avoiding knight d4, knight e1, and yeah, they are going to play f4. And we have absolutely nothing because now g2 is defended, and f4 is going to help their dark square bishop, that is the unopposed bishop, to improve. So rook h6 makes a whole world of difference. Now d5 is simply answered by e5. Yeah, sometimes, and in these kind of positions, I prefer to keep the tension because I have the hope of this bishop opening up. But here e5 is pretty effective. Yeah, let's see why. Queen c2. If we compare to the other line with knight e1, now we discover that queen h4, well, is too strong. h3 is nobody's cup of tea. I mean, nobody would like to play h3 because of rook g6. And yeah, things are becoming really nasty. So yeah, once we get to h4, the knight is forced to come back, and well, queen h5 followed by g5, g4, or knight d f6, g4 with a very interesting attack. So queen c2 is more normal, and yeah, their idea is to put pressure on e4 by playing bishop d3. How are we going to deal with it? It's not so easy now. Our attacking chances seem to be halt because of this knight. So probably we're interested in trading these knights by playing knight g5, but the bad thing about it is that f5 is dropping. Well, Savon came up with rook f8, bishop d3, and the surprising bishop c8. Recycling his bishop. Now his bishop was doing absolutely nothing in the long diagonal once the pawn reached d5, so he's offering the pawn on e4. The game continued with g3. A really dubious move in my opinion, because it weakens light squares. But yeah, the thing is that accepting the pawn, bishop takes e4, f takes e4, queen takes e4, wasn't a good idea because of knight f6, queen c2, and knight g4 with a beautiful attack. Yeah, we're threatening knight takes h2, knight takes h2, and queen h4. Yeah, for instance, queen e2, avoiding rook takes f3, knight takes h2, knight takes h2, and queen h4. After knight g4, h3 seems normal, but it's met by rook takes f3, g takes f3, and white's king is absolutely hopeless. We can take f takes g4 and queen h4. I guess this is it. This is more than enough. We're threatening mate in 2, rook h1 and queen h3. Okay, but after g3, the game continued with knight df6, knight h4. Yeah, they're trying to block our attempts to attack, and at the same time they are trying to play f3. This is the idea. This is actually the idea of playing g3, because moving the knight now simply allows queen h4. So this is the difference. By playing g3, they avoid queen h4, and they are going to use h4 for the knight, what is really suspicious. But okay, Malinin didn't find any other alternative. So knight h4 and knight g4. Yeah, things are becoming really critical, and as the pressure on the h file is growing. Bishop takes e4, f takes e4, and queen takes e4. Everything seems to be under control for white, but actually here we have a very nice continuation. I highly encourage you to stop the video and try to find it. The game continued with a brilliant rook takes h4, g takes h4, queen takes h4, threatening checkmate, and the only way to stop it is by playing queen g2. And it seems enough. Yeah, we're an exchange down, and it seems white is going to repel our attack by playing queen g3 and sometimes f3. Yeah, f3 right away, no, because of knight takes e3, but they can prepare it. But the thing is that here we have a brilliant move, and this brilliant move is none other than rook f3. This one freezes the whole thing and yeah, seals the deal actually. Yeah, the rook cannot be captured, obviously, because of queen takes h2, checkmate. And the worst thing is that this rook cannot move because of rook takes f2. And well, things are desperate because the bishop is falling, and this is it. I think that rook h3 is also winning. We are going to capture the h2 pawn. This could win equally. But after bishop c3, bishop f5, and yeah, look how the opposite colored bishop play a role here, how this bishop is doing absolutely nothing, while this one is going to be placed, well, on h3, on e4, in squares where it will hurt. And yeah, bishop e1, and after e4, white is simply lost, desperate situation. He is facing knight e5, bishop h3. The game continues with rook d4, and after knight e5, yeah, Malinin decided to resign, as there is very little he can do to meet bishop h3, and the queen will not be able to move. Yeah, I mean, after b5, for instance, bishop h3, the queen cannot move to any safe square. The only safe square is h1, but queen g4 and checkmate into. A beautiful masterpiece by Vladimir Savon, who was a Russian champion in 1971, 30 years prior to this game. I hope you like the game, you found it interesting. And yeah, if that's the case, please remember to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it. So thank you for your attention, and see you next time. Goodbye.